Welcome to the Kansas City Defender. This is a Defender News Briefing. In what community members are now describing as a horrific attempted execution, 2 Kansas City police officers shot and critically wounded a black woman on Friday night, May 27th, in the Independence Plaza neighborhood. The victim and 26-year-old black woman identified as Leonna Hale. The Kansas City Police Department alleges the incident was in an attempt to arrest a woman and a man in connection with the suspected stolen vehicle, but eyewitnesses say this narrative does not add up, given the woman had her hands up and was also shot an astounding 5 times. Shay, an eyewitness who recorded the aftermath of the scene, told the Kansas City Star she heard officers start yelling, quote, "Get out of the car," end quote, to 2 people who were in a car close to her. A man got out of the vehicle, she says, jumped a fence, and took off. 3 of the cops took off after him, she says. The woman, on the other hand, exited the car with her hands up. According to the Kansas City Star's eyewitness account, quote, "The cops told the woman to get on the ground, but the woman informed them that she was pregnant, and so she couldn't get down on the ground," end quote. Then police asked her to get down multiple times, which she still couldn't. The woman then informed police that there was a gun in the vehicle. The woman began moving back toward a fence of the parking lot. Numerous officers approached and drew their weapons. She did not pull a weapon out on them, Shay said. She did not even have a stick in her hand, Shay also said. The woman ran 3 steps away from officers, and police shot 5 times. Quote, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I remember it because it didn't stop. They shot 5 times, Shay says, the eyewitness who recorded the aftermath of the scene. Quote, I remember seeing her hit the ground and I froze, end quote, she says. She also asked police numerous times why they shot the woman, but officers refused to answer. Shay's account, along with other eyewitnesses, directly contradict the official police account provided by Sergeant Bell. Many community members are already placing the event in stark contrast to the Buffalo massacre, asking how police can safely apprehend a white man who committed mass murder, but brazenly shoot a black woman 5 times who posed no threat and had her hands up. A video of the horrific aftermath shows Leonna lying on the ground after being shot, and the police proceeding to handcuff her, dramatically increasing her likelihood of bleeding to death. Fortunately, Leonna is still alive and now in stable condition. Interim Kansas City Police Chief Joseph Mabin said, "We never want to be in these types of situations, not the public, as a police department. Anytime it happens is a blight on our community. I want to ensure the public the scene is secure. There is no ongoing threat. We're committed to being 100% transparent. This is a holiday weekend. It's time for friends, not a time for family." Missouri State Highway Patrol has been tasked with investigating the unarmed shooting of Leonna Hale. It is a procedure for such an outside agency to investigate police-involved shootings, specifically involving the Kansas City Police Department, as an alleged attempt at providing impartiality. Community members are already decrying this decision as they recall the botched and corrupt investigation conducted by the agency last year in the case of Malcolm Johnson. Malcolm Johnson was an unarmed black man murdered on March 25th, 2021 by the Kansas City Police Department. Similar to Leonna's case, all local media outlets as well as the Missouri State Highway Patrol, who's currently conducting Leonna's investigation, reported that he had been armed and engaged in a shootout with the police. But what really happened? As formerly reported by the Kansas City Defender, video later leaked by 2 convenience store employees showed several cops restraining Johnson in a way that made it physically impossible for him to fight back. One cop drew her weapon, accidentally shot another cop in the leg, and then fired several shots into Johnson's back. In other words, not only was Malcolm Johnson unarmed, but one of the cops accidentally shot the other cop before murdering Johnson, and Johnson was framed for the entire situation. None of this information would have been released if the video footage was not leaked by the convenience store employees. It directly contradicted the official police account and official police report, and the Missouri Highway Patrol, who's currently conducting Leonna's investigation, also reported that Johnson had shot a cop and thus found his murder justifiable. As Defender columnist Cassandra Gillig previously wrote, it is easy to see how police are the dominant authority in these murders. Another news story released by KSHB Kansas City 2 days after Malcolm Johnson's murder worked to legitimate the narrative by exclusively using police and FBI perspectives. In the story, Public Information Officer Sergeant Jacob Bakina said, "We trained tirelessly from day one to give officers every tool, both physically, mentally, and tactically, to work through those situations so that they have the best chance to make the best possible decisions that they can, end quote. Suggesting again that the outcome that took place with Malcolm Johnson was the best possible outcome and truly could not have gone any other way. At the Kansas City Defender, we will continue to provide contextual and historical information as we report on the tragic story of Leonna Hale, as well as on the alleged investigation into why she was shot a horrific 5 times after having her hands up and being unarmed. Thank you for tuning in to the Kansas City Defender. This is a Defender News Briefing, and this is also a developing story.